y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Kia Simone, and child, let's get into this episode of SWV and XSCAPE because this gets worse by the week. Rocky got to be going to jail sometime soon. And Tasha around here crying on the internet, telling me she might not be strong enough for all this backlash, so I'm gonna try to go easy on her. Let's just get into it. Before we do, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. And of course, I got to shout out my super thanksters and my cash appers. Thank you so much to Simone Francois, K&J, Amber Lede, Yolanda Gilchrist ×2, Majid, Yvette Greer, Shantae Robinson, Tanya Fuller. Thank y'all so much. And on Cash App, Lakeisha Toussaint and Ashley Hunter, thank y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Also, I haven't gotten a chance to really acknowledge that we hit 13,000 subscribers. We are at like 13.2, but every day is something new with these XSCAPE folks. So we hit 13,000 and we gonna celebrate soon as we can get up out their drama. Now let's get into it. This episode starts out with Tamika reaching out to her sister Tasha for them to get together and mend fences. Now, of course, we know we ain't watching this in real time. This had to have happened some months back. But based on the fact that Tamika was just on the internet a week or so ago, dropping all the receipts on her sister, I don't know if they're still beefing or if whatever mending they did carried over, but that's just where they started. So when Tamika calls Tasha, she calls her and says, I would like for us to get together because we haven't spoken or anything. Tasha said, okay, and I guess it's about that time. You would think Tamika stole from her. Tamika said in the confessional that her sister did show up to the sound check that they thought she wasn't coming to, and she thought that was a really good thing, and the weeks of them not talking have been very stressful for her, and she misses her sister, so she wants to work it out. And that's between them as sisters. We as the general public can always have our opinions and how we feel about Tasha and all her antics, but at the end of the day, that's Tamika's sister, and if that's what you want to do, then go on, sister, mend the fences. Then, while we trying to get from Tamika's house to Tasha's studio session so we could see them mend fences, we see Taj doing some sort of a virtual lap dance for her husband, Chuck. Now, the one thing I will say is Taj looks damn good. To say she is in her 50s, sis pulled that shirt off and just, okay then. So we move on and we get to the studio where Tasha is listening to a song that she's recorded and Rocky's sitting in there dancing to the tune of all her coins falling in his pocket. So Tamika pulls up to the studio session. Tasha's in the booth recording. Rocky is sitting at the table and she walks in. She's standing there waiting on her sister to come out. And Rocky is just looking her up and down. What's up, Meek? Watching this scene with the knowledge that this man got his hands on and was watching this woman's tape and her pictures that he hacked from her phone made it so cringy and so creepy and so uncomfortable to watch. He literally looked like he was looking through her, like he was undressing her. He says, "What's up, Meek?" She turned her damn head like he wasn't sitting there and said, "Hey," to her sister, and I don't blame her. Well, he and the engineer get up to leave so that Tasha and Tamika can have a private conversation. Tamika starts out complimenting her sister and tells her that she looks cute. And one thing Tasha will not do is return a compliment. But, oh, thank you, darling. Tamika said, "Yeah, girl, I like that." So Tamika starts the conversation with Tasha by telling her that I recently had a conversation with your mother, our mother. Tasha said, "Well, how did that go?" She said, "Well, it went well. I apologized to her for cursing in her house and, she accepted." So here goes Tasha. How did we get here? Just how did we get here? Girl, follow the checks. Tamika said, "I don't know." Tasha said, "Yeah, this is crazy." Tamika said, "Yeah, it is crazy. For us to go 3 months without talking is crazy. And we both have to take responsibility for that." Tasha says, "Yeah, we all have to be held accountable in a very self-righteous, it's not me, it's you kind of way." Tamika emphasized, I said, both of us are responsible. And Tasha does that throw the rock, hide her hand thing, but I didn't point any fingers. I didn't say anyone in particular. Tamika said both of us said things that were hurtful. Tasha said, well, people say things all the time. You say things that are hurtful, but I'm not holding on to it. Tasha is extremely manipulative and she will do anything to avoid accountability. Tamika said, "Well, anyway, I'm just here trying to figure out where your head is at. What's next?" And Tasha said, we're going to figure this thing out. We want our sisterhood. Our sisterhood is important and we want it back. Then she starts giving her this speech that is designed to appeal to her loyalties so that she remembers that she's supposed to be loyal to Tasha under any circumstances. Tasha starts telling the story about how, we've been down, we've been way down together, and we came back up stronger together. And in the confessional, she's telling the story about when their dad left, how it was just their mom and the two of them, and it was just the three amigos and they had to figure it out. Well, here's my thing. I come from a very similar circumstance. Because we went through that, because we were all we had, that's why it's even more unfathomable to me that she would do the kinds of things she's done to her sister. And even if she says, well, it wasn't me, it was my husband, I didn't have nothing to do with it, I didn't know he was doing it, I'm just surviving Rocky. Even if that's the case, you allowed your husband to do these things to your sister, to steal her sex tape, to hack her photos, to threaten to expose and malign her, to take her money. And you have the audacity to sit up and tell the story about how we got it out the mud together while you stealing from me? Tasha is reminding Tamika that it was nobody else around. It was just the three amigos. Well, you need to get in the mirror and tell yourself that. The next time you go along with one of your husband's Bonnie and Clyde schemes, you need to remind yourself that this man wasn't in the picture when me, my mom, and my sister were getting it out the mud. Rocky is the kind of man that will cost Tasha every relationship she has. He will leave her high, dry, and isolated and move on to whatever the next best thing is with her money. So they end this meeting with their commitment to the intent of repairing their sisterly bond, and they hug each other very tearfully, and we move on. So then we move on to a dance audition where both of the groups are coming together to watch some dancers try out for this show that probably ain't gonna happen. So the audition is attended by all of SWV and most of the ladies from XSCAPE minus Candy. They say Candy couldn't make it because she had something else on her schedule. She had other things to do. I said, now if it was Tasha who had something on her schedule and wasn't able to make it, it was going to be a whole group meeting and smoke in the city. But Tamika said he ain't worry about it because Candy's the worst dancer in their group anyway, so it's better that she's absent today. She said, and while we talking about the worst dancer, let it be known she's the best, okay? She said, if you go back about 30 years and look at one of their old videos where they actually did have some choreography, because XSCAPE ain't never been known as no dancers. She said, you'll see that while she was 8 months pregnant, she was still the best dancer in the group. Y'all need to get y'all together. Now, Taj said in her group, she's the best dancer, but I don't know what in the breakdancing hell she gave us as a demonstration, like, ma'am. So then we move on and we see the ladies of SWV getting together to suck on some hookahs and talk about these heifers. Apparently, Coko is quite fond of hookahs, and Taj don't understand it. Me either. Taj had all the same questions I got. Do you inhale this? Do you blow it out? What is it supposed to taste? I don't taste nothing. Ain't nothing coming out. Lily showed up and said, Coko, when you start doing that, when you start smoking hookahs and things? She said, well, at least you got that in your mouth and not something else, because coming out here used to like to put plenty of things in your mouth. These women's is deep. Taj said, well, speaking of the sex, when is your book coming out, Sister Hot Pussy? This was Lily's chance to get it off her chest that being freaky in between the sheets of a book is hard. She said erotica writing is far more difficult than she ever expected because your imagination has to be on 10. Tasha, girl, all you need is a little 50 Shades of Grey. Go get you a copy of 50 Shades of Grey and it's going to light up everything for you. She said, I read and told my husband go get every toy and tool they listed in that mother. We gonna try them all. Coko said in the confessional, I can see Lily writing an erotica book. She's always been very creative and nasty. And she talking about me, and I like to put stuff in my mouth. But no, she's always been the super freak of the group. Taj said, well, while we here talking shit, this is the shit I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I had a meeting with Tamika. And she gonna try to tell me that we ain't relevant. Because 2 of her group members got a whole bunch of followers and we don't have 1 million followers together. Coko said, oh no ma'am, she is the one that's not relevant, but we ain't got enough. Lily said, did you tell her that Candy and Tiny's exes are for her to kiss? Did you tell her that? We had a well-oiled machine before they decided to put their bullshit back together, and we'll keep our machine going. We ain't got to deal with this. Lily said the fact of the matter is, to date, We have sold more records than them, period. And they put the stats on the screen. They showed a comparison of SWV and XSCAPE's sales histories. And in every category, SWV is above XSCAPE. So for the album sales activity for the week, SWV is about 1,100 units ahead of XSCAPE. For year to date, they are almost 7,000 units ahead of XSCAPE. And for all time, they're 1.2 million ahead of XSCAPE. And that's in the US only. What that Jay-Z said, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. Lily says, so I don't give a damn how relevant they think they are. It doesn't take away from what we've done and what we've contributed to the culture. And the fact of the matter is, if their social media status and standing carried as much weight as they claimed, Kandi wouldn't have several flopped solo projects. Kandi and Tiny would have both been far more successful in their solo and duo endeavors than they have been. Now, yeah, they've been successful as songwriters behind the scenes, but y'all claim they are so relevant and everybody is following them and everybody's so impressed with their talents. Well, why don't all these people who are following them and are so impressed with their talents actually support their talents? And speaking of, we move on to Tiny's house where she's meeting with her daughter Zanique, who is going to try to talk some sense into her. So they start their conversation with Tiny telling her daughter Zanique, you should have come to my performance in Orlando. She said, well, what exactly did I miss? And she asked her little sister, the youngest baby, she said, how did mama do? She said she did very, 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 very spectacular. I said, well, that's all that matters, girl. Kids will crush your ego when you think you done did something. So if the baby said you did a damn good job, you did a damn good job. Tiny said, well, it was a good show. The energy was really good, she said. And surprisingly, Tasha did come to sound check and she had the best energy. Yeah, she had just signed a solo deal. Tiny says she hopes that they can keep moving forward with this kind of positive energy, but you know, they got a lot of time in between now and the next show, so ain't no telling what might happen. The producer said you ain't got but a few weeks. She said that's a lot of time. It don't take but 2 days for shit to fall apart around here. Tiny said she did say she was gonna do this upcoming show, but I mean, being that she didn't show up to the last rehearsal, I don't really know. And we do have a booking coming up without her, so. Zanique said, a booking without her? What? Tiny said, well, I mean, she wasn't available, so I mean, if she ain't available, that. Zanique said, y'all still took it? Zanique, they're so dysfunctional, and it ain't gonna make no sense in your rational mind, okay? She done took a solo deal, but she's still showing up to the group events. The group don't want to deal with her, but they still want her solo act there. They're a mess. Tiny says in the confessional, if she can be honest, it really feels like when they get to a high place, that Tasha starts acting like she doesn't need them. And she's explaining to her daughter that, listen, yeah, we took the booking without her. Hell, she ain't showing up to rehearsal. She halfway acting like she ain't part of the group no more. So, I mean, yeah, we took it. I mean, what you want us to do? She said, as a matter of fact, when she didn't show up to that last rehearsal, Kandi was hot. And Tiny went on in the confessional to say that when they were starting the whole getting back together conversation, Kandi said to her that she was hesitant about doing this because she felt like Tasha was going to use her. She said, you and I both have platforms. We don't need this. They do. And I feel like what's going to happen is she's going to use me until she gets to the point that she doesn't need me anymore and that she's going to give me her ass to kiss. Tiny said, and look at it. She was right. Tiny said, but oh, Mary, don't you weep. The fact that she didn't come to rehearsal allowed us to actually rehearse. And Tamika learned her parts and was tearing it down. We all right. We're going to take that 3 to 4 times higher than SWV and split it 3 ways. That's what we're going to do. So then we move on and we see Lily taking her grand puppy to the groomers. And the only reason I'm even mentioning this scene, because it was absolutely a filler scene, is her grand puppy's name is Justice. As in the real poetic justice, as in the name of my book. Yeah, I'm going to be doing shameless plugs. I'm absolutely going to be doing that. Yes, I am. But anyway, Justice is her daughter's dog, who she's keeping while her daughter is out of town. I think she's trying to get you ready for a grandbaby. So her sister went with her to perform her grandmotherly duties. And she let us know that at the height of her career with SWV, her sister was actually her primary babysitter for her kids. She said, of course, she never wanted to be a single mother. And whether you have a career like hers or 9 to 5, being a single parent and balancing your career can be difficult. And so she credits her sister for helping her with that. She said in the end, it's been bittersweet for her. She does struggle with her absence in terms of not being there for her kids, but the absence is what afforded her the career that she has. So of course it was a sacrifice, but She had to do what she had to do to provide for her children. She says she does look back sometimes and think, maybe if I had been more present, maybe if I had been around, this or that wouldn't have happened. And I think this is something that a lot of parents struggle with, is the guilt of their struggle, the guilt of the mistakes that they made in raising their children. And it's not to say, oh, nothing is a mistake and oh, you shouldn't have any regrets. But sometimes what it comes down to is you did the best you could with what you had. And in the words of Maya Angelou, you do the best you can until you know better. And then when you know better, you do better. So once you learned better, you can implement better. You can learn from the mistakes you've made, but not be in a state of constant guilt or beating yourself up about them. So Lily sits her sister down and they're talking about the groups entering the wardrobe stage of this whole show planning. That they're supposed to be getting together with Xscape to plan costumes, but SWV don't get down like Xscape gets down. Lily said, we'll give you a little sexy. We might give you a little leg, a little shoulder here, but they giving Apollonia 6. When I tell you I fell out. In the confessional, the producer asked Lily, would you be caught dead in one of Xscape's outfits? She said, maybe dead, maybe. So her sister asked $1 million question. Her sister said, how is y'all planning wardrobe and y'all ain't actually planning the show? Y'all don't know that this is going to happen. Y'all can't come to an agreement, but y'all planning costumes? Lily said at this point, we just waiting to see what happens. I'm just hoping that we can pull it off and pull it together the right way. But at this point, it's coming across like they think they're better than us. And I'm not sure why. So we move on. We see Kandi and Coko coming together in the studio to discuss the set list. Well, they are met by Steven, the graphics guy. Coko said, this man does graphics. So I'm trying to figure out why is he here putting the set list together. Now, I could see why he would have involvement in putting the set list together if he's actually designing the set. So I'm sure he would need to be instrumental in set list planning in order for him to do his job. But I get where Coko is coming from. She said, this is Xscape's guy. I don't know this man. So Steven starts going down the set list. He said, we're going to start with I'm So Into You by SWV. Coko said, we're not. He said, okay. All right, well, we'll be starting with Anything, the remix by SWV. She said, yes, that sounds better. He said, next, we'll start with Tonight by Xscape. We'll transition into Rain by SWV, and then You're Always on My Mind by SWV. Coko said, that's ugly. Kandi said, you don't think that'll be a good transition? I mean, it has a little bit more tempo. It's still kind of slow. Yeah, all y'all songs are slow. That's what she's trying to get at. He said, then we'll get into Who Can I Run To by Xscape, and then Xscape will transition into Do You Want To? Coko said, ooh, this is real slow. This is sleepy. Yeah, this is giving Lovers Lockdown. Kandi is in the confessional about please show your true colors. This difficult stuff she's doing, this is the real her. Well, Kandi, who is the real you? Kandi makes me sick with this. Kandi lives on a double standard, and she's not much different than Tasha. When Kandi is speaking up for her group, it's just business. And most people are just not comfortable talking about business. But when Coko is standing up for her group, especially in the face of a group who's made it very clear that they have no respect or good intentions for my group, then she's difficult. So you can call her difficult for standing up for her group, but when you come with all your delusions of grandeur, you're just a businesswoman. Girl, go to hell. So Steven keeps going with the set list, and he gets to how they're going to end the show. And he says that the plan is to end with SWV singing Weak and then Xscape singing Understanding. Coko said, you don't think that should be the other way around? You don't think it should be Xscape singing Understanding and then SWV singing Weak? Kandi said, well, we don't agree with that. Coko said, well, we do. Yeah, Kandi, you done met your match. Now Kandi sitting there smiling at Coko and looking dumb. Coko in the confessional said, yeah, she thinks she's smart. They want a headline, so they're trying to get it by any means necessary, even if it means we gonna just trick them and we'll close the show with our song. I'm not about to play their game. Not with my song. That's the bigger record. No, ma'am. Coko said, it really don't matter what y'all think, because at this point, we're not gonna change our minds. So Kandi said, oh, okay, well, so how we gonna figure this out? Coko said, I don't know. Kandi said, well, the group is not gonna be doing that. Coko said, Okay? Baby, what you don't sing, don't put $1 in my pocket. I don't give a damn what y'all do. I'll tell you what you ain't gonna do is play with me. So we move on and we see the ladies headed to this wardrobe meeting that they're supposed to have. So we first see Candy and Tiny and they're riding together to the meeting. Now, they're discussing what colors they want, and Tiny is talking about doing black and rhinestones, remember that. And that they're going to their wardrobe stylist, all the ladies are gonna come together and they're gonna try to see how they can get these costumes together. Candy immediately goes into shading SWV about, I thought they said they don't dress up like that. You know what I really realized watching this? Candy is trying to rewrite history. Candy really wants to change the narrative to Xscape being the biggest girl group. That ain't never gonna happen. I'm sorry. As someone who was there, Xscape was never the bigger deal. Xscape never has been and never will be bigger than SWV, period. And the way that Candy takes all these digs at them, it's extremely disrespectful. It does not give a professional. It does not give anybody who is supportive of other women and just wants to collaborate. It gives, I want to compete and I want to dominate, and the numbers say you can't. Tiny is in the confessional about how they don't really dress up for their shows. They wear their 90s looks and combat boots and stuff like that. But, back in the day, we used to dress like that. Yeah, y'all were never the fashion girls, ever. Stop. But now, we into 2023 and, we on our grown woman thing. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. The pictures they showed of them in concert today, they look a solid gold mess. I'm sorry. Now, the funny thing is, Tiny and Candy got these jokes about SWV and their wardrobe or lack thereof, but didn't Tiny just go viral getting dragged on the internet by one of them damn outfits she was wearing in concert? See, y'all got to stop. Y'all ain't even operating in reality. So then we move on and we see Taj, Coko, and her son Jalen headed to the meeting. And they nervous as hell about meeting this mystery designer because if he's dressing them, I don't know if he gonna get us. Everybody ain't with that pretty woman bullshit. But mid-conversation, Taj remembered Coko had gave her some tea. She said, Jalen, you got some news for me? Jalen decided he's going back to school. Taj said, well, what made you decide you wanted to go back? And he just rolled his eyes and we saw all the clips of his mama. I ain't never got to go to college. Your brother didn't go to college. I'm trying to pay for you to go to college, right? He said ultimately he felt like he would have regretted not going back in the long run and he didn't want to be behind. And I think he made the best decision for himself. And I am so happy that Coko supported him in thinking that decision through, that she didn't just beat it down his throat that this is what you got to do. She told him what she thought was best for him over and over again. And then she let him make the best decision for himself. And I think he's going to be very, very, very happy that he did. Coko and Taj told him, if you worry about singing, sing to your patients. Be the singing dentist, baby. They got social media for that. Taj said, well, we getting to the end. We getting to the finish line. How you feel about performing with these girls? She said, child, I don't know. Because the last time I met with Candy, she started the conversation where I don't mean no disrespect. And when it start with I don't mean no disrespect, that bitch getting ready to disrespect you. So Taj said the other line is we love y'all. But Coko said I can't even say I love them heifers right by now. So speaking of, we cut back over to Tiny and Candy in the car. And Candy is telling Tiny about this last conversation that she and Coko had. And she said basically she's coming off like if they don't get to perform last, they might not perform. So what happens if they say, we ain't budging? Tiny said, well, I guess it just won't be no show. Y'all got a whole lot of gumption for folks who just called a management meeting. Must be 2, 3, 4 episodes ago about how y'all need new management because y'all ain't been getting no offers since the verses and y'all was trying to figure out if y'all fell off. Y'all talk a lot of shit for some folks who just had a meeting about how they ain't getting no damn offers. So the ladies finally all arrived at this wardrobe meeting and it is at the Magic City Manufacturing Center. This just looks like where every stripper in Atlanta goes to get the costume of her dreams. Just feathers and rhinestones and G-strings. Just galore. And this is who Xscape uses to make all their costumes, child. So all the ladies get there and the designer starts this meeting by passing out sketches of what the outfits will look like so that they can discuss the ideas and all come to an agreement. Well, Lily got there late, and Lily said when she walked in, she expected to see clothes, like real clothes, but she saw drawers all over the place, and this was a lot even for Sister Hot. So the designer starts by asking them about their individual styles. Of course, Tiny wants something sexy and form-fitting. Candy wants something snatched and lifted. Girl, Tamika said she's a blank canvas. Call her Burger King because you can have it your way. Make whatever you want from me. Taj said, well, the buck stops here. I like stylish and comfortable. I like to be able to move. I want to be able to kick my leg and everybody don't see my trap queen. Girl. He gets to Tasha last because, you know, she is the grand finale. He said, what would you like? Well, before Dina could answer, the other dream girls spoke up. They said, well, you know, old Diana Ross here likes her own style. She done embarrassed us at the last show we had where she showed up in a totally different look, like she is Martha and we is the Vandellas. Tasha in the confessional said at one time they all had the same stylist, but things weren't coming out right for her as usual. She said so she decided to get her own stylist, and now that's working for her. Girl, she said, but Diana Ross, we already know who she is. Well, she ain't you and you ain't her. So the designer takes everybody's measurements and they sit down to start the conversation about what colors they want. So here goes Candy. What color do y'all like? What's y'all's favorite? Lily said, I think I'd like black. Candy said, but I mean, it can't be all black on stage. Lily said, okay, well, black and silver. I think I like black and silver. So Taj said, well, everyone who's for black and silver, raise your hands. So SWV and Tiny from XSCAPE all raised their hands for black and silver. Taj said, oh, so you don't like black and silver? Candy said, I was thinking white and silver. Now, am I crazy? Or was Candy and Tiny just in the car on the way to this thing? And Tiny said, I was going to tell him to do black with more rhinestones. Candy said, yeah. Did that not happen? Now, all of a sudden, you want white with rhinestones because they said black and silver. And then they showed a clip when they were showing the costumes that this guy had designed for them in the past where XSCAPE was on stage in all black. Candy works my nerves. Candy likes to play like she's all about business and she's so cooperative and collaborative when in truth she's not. She's a highly competitive person. Candy is actually difficult, but what she does is she hides it behind this I smile and I call everything business persona. So the designer ain't dealing with that. He said, all right, either white and silver or black and silver. Y'all will get a mix of both. Shit, ain't nobody got time. So then Candy brings up, well, do you think you'll be able to get this done in time? And he said, yeah, as long as y'all got my money in time. And she decides she's going to lead them into a discussion about the last time that they got together and spoke about this whole show planning. Now, while she's taking over speaking on behalf of the group, Tasha's sitting over there side-eyeing her so damn hard. Like, if I could whoop your ass, I would. Those two are in a spiritual battle. They shit is real deep. Candy said, but the last time we got together, we were going back and forth about who was going to end the show and we never got to a resolution. So Coko over there looking like, so. Taj spoke up to say, well, Tamika and I met at the rehearsal hall and I was telling her that I thought Weak was the better song to end on. So here goes Tamika being shady. Well, why did you say you thought it was the stronger song? She said, because it sold 3 million records. It's the biggest record. Like, it only makes sense to end the show with the biggest record. Tamika said, well, hold on, because we talking about numbers. And here she goes to kiss Tiny and Candy's asses. Taj said, oh yeah, because she brought up that y'all got all these followers and we don't have 1 million combined. And they showed the clip of them having this conversation. And Tamika is saying, well, if I can accept that Candy and Tiny have precedence over me, Taj said, that ain't got nothing to do with us. That's you having to bow to them and your group. They ain't got nothing to do with us. I'm sorry, I know this is going to sound harsh, but Tamika is speaking from a place of low self-esteem. She is conditioned to letting people run over her on the basis of you're not as good as me. You should just subordinate to me because I'm bigger and better than you. And that's why you wholeheartedly believe this bullshit you saying. And in the confessional, she says, they did outsell understanding. I mean, there's no disputing that. But in this climate, I mean, Candy and Tiny just have more followers. Here's the thing. Them followers don't translate to sales, because if that were the case, Candy has 10 million followers and has never, not then and not now, been able to truly get a solo project off the ground. You have the likes of Sweetie, who's a current artist, who has millions of followers and was able to sell a couple thousand albums. People follow drama. People follow mess and train wrecks. People are not following you because they want to support you. Followers and sales are not one and the same. And that's what Lily said in the confessional. Lily said if we going on followers, based on all the followers they have, they should be 90 million records sold easy. But they ain't. One thing that is absolutely triggering to me is disrespect. And Xscape just is disrespectful. They're just a disrespectful group. Like, y'all were barely even included in Jermaine Dupri's So Death celebration. And y'all really out here trying to put y'all foot on SWV's neck? Lily said, at the end of the day, I don't have a problem coming in and giving y'all's respect for who y'all are and what y'all have done. But what I will not do is be subjected to being around people who think they're going to disrespect me on the basis of followers and a piano in a dressing room. Tasha said, piano in a dressing room? What the hell are you talking about? Tasha said, oh yeah, since we being messy. Tiny, that's what Tamika had said about you. She said, you real bougie like that, and you require a piano to be in all of your dressing rooms when y'all are touring. I know that's right. Return this dysfunction to the sender. Lily said, trust and believe we are SWV. So all that bullshit, if we wanted that bullshit, we could have it. Tiny said, I mean, we feel like we should end the show. Y'all feel like y'all should end the show. So ain't nobody really saying nothing no different. And Tiny is in the confessional talking about how their show is just a much bigger production. I mean, it's not Michael Jackson or J-Lo level, but it's a pretty big production. You know, we have LED screens and lights and rhinestones. And yeah, y'all got to do all that extra bullshit because y'all got a bunch of ballads and y'all are singing people to sleep. So you have to have all of these theatrics to keep people awake. It's called gimmicks. What kills me is how they go out of their way to try to shade and disrespect SWV. Then why do you want to do a show with them? If y'all feel like y'all are the Supremes and they the 5 heartbeats, why do you want to do a show with them? Lily said we doing too much, spending too much time going back and forth about which song is going to end. And it just doesn't make sense. Candy said, well, if it's not that big a deal and it don't make sense, then why are y'all standing on it so hard? Coko said, you know what? This is what we can do. Y'all do y'all set and we'll do our set. That's what we can do. This is becoming bigger than what it is and it's getting on my motherfucking nerves. Tamika said, I mean, but nobody said that. Coko said, this is me saying it now. She said, so you saying we could do our set, y'all do? Yes. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Tamika said, and why are you saying that? She said, because that's how I feel right now. Tamika said, so the sisterhood is just gone out of the window. You and your sister gonna have to take this manipulative bullshit and going up the block with this whole sisterhood bullshit. Coko said the sisterhood been gone. Save that. Y'all wasn't worried about sisterhood when y'all were trying to play them as less than y'all, and they don't even dress up for their shows. And I mean, our shows is night and day. And I mean, we got more followers and we don't mean no disrespect. We love y'all, but y'all wasn't worried about sisterhood then, so save it. So now they're trying to make it like Coko is so out of line and out of her mind for being frustrated and upset. Well, so you're saying we can do our set? Y'all, yes, you're hearing me. You're hearing me. Tamika said, but we not kids. You ain't got to talk to us like that. Oh, you do your set, we do our set. Girl, y'all do behave like children. Coko said, girl, ain't nobody treating you like no child. Tamika said, I mean, but that's how you're acting. No. What all of these ladies in Xscape do, every single one of them, is gaslight the shit out of people. I don't know if it's because it's the cultural norm within their group, but they literally throw these rocks and then hide their hands about, you know, you're not professional and you're difficult. And why is it so hard to plan the show? And oh, now you don't want to mix sets? Y'all been trying to sun these people the entire time we've been watching this. I ain't seen an episode in the last 5 episodes where y'all ain't tried to pull rank on people whose numbers y'all cannot touch. But now you want to make it about her being difficult because they tired of y'all's bullshit. Tamika's still trying to make it about how Coko is talking rather than about the fact that her group is completely uncooperative. And Taj steps in to be the voice of reason and says, listen, she's frustrated as any rational human being would be. Tasha spoke up and said, this too much. This ain't what I signed up for. This ain't what I want to do. I don't want no parts of this. Yeah, she 2 seconds from telling y'all she about this. So speaking of Escape and all of their dysfunction, we move on to end the episode with Escape having a business meeting. So they start this meeting out with a conversation about their promoters. That Tamika had gotten a bunch of information from a promoter that they deal with that they need to present to Tasha. So Tamika explains to Tasha that your husband has been dealing with this promoter and your husband has been getting a kickback. Tasha sat there and looked confused for a minute and then said, ain't nobody been getting no kickback. Now, here's my thing. Before we even get into the details of this, what Tasha said in that boohoo crying video that she did is that she's the wife and she knows everything, which is why I believe that she's not completely out of the loop on all of the crimes Rocky has committed. Tamika said, oh yeah, he's been getting a kickback, honey, and I'm about to kick this paperwork back to you. Tasha said, oh no, he ain't been getting no kickback. Tamika said, all right, well, hold on. She pulled a file folder out of her bag. She said, we about to have a business meeting. Take one and pass it around. Candy said the promoter sent copies of text messages. Tasha said, text messages from what? So Tasha gets the paper in her hand. She glances over it. What's this? So y'all believe text messages? Candy said the text messages are between Rocky and the promoter. So Tamika starts reading the text and there's stuff about, are we still good on our deal? You're my guy. Can you shoot me $20K? I showed my wife the first $10K you already sent. How his wife was going to be in charge of the girls and keeping the girls in check. The promoter told Rocky he's going to look out for him. But I'm going to need all 4 of the ladies. Hence, Tasha moving like the group needs her and trying to leverage her presence and power in the group. So Candy explained in the confessional that basically what was happening was that Rocky was working with this particular promoter and that the agreement was that he would get Tasha to get the rest of Escape to agree to do this particular promoter's shows. And once he got all 4 girls to agree, Rocky would get a kickback from the promoter. They read the text where Rocky is telling the promoter, listen, I got you because I got Tasha and Tasha's the one who's going to make them all listen. This some shit. Tasha says, y'all trying to say these messages came from Rocky and this guy? Tamika said, yeah, that's his number. You don't know your husband's number? Tasha said, but this doesn't make any sense. None of y'all does. Candy said, I shouldn't have to worry about kickbacks within my own group. Tasha starts that whole separate but equal about, well, so are you saying that I did that? Because I didn't do anything. Candy said, but that's your husband. Y'all are one. And again, didn't Tasha say when she was crying on the internet about she's this wife in an open marriage and people think I don't know, but I know everything? Didn't she say that? Tasha said, yeah, but I didn't do anything. Candy said, yeah, but y'all are one. And they started explaining to her that the texts also say that he had already discussed this with you, that you were involved and included. So you're not ignorant to what's going on. Tiny said, here's the thing. The bottom line is any money that's going out should be laid on the table. Everybody should know about it. So now Tasha is challenging them like they crazy. So at the end of the day, you believe that these screenshots are between my husband and this guy. Tamika said, Tasha, that's his phone number. Tasha said, okay, girl. And the episode comes to an end with Tasha calling Rocky in front of the ladies. And I guess that's what we'll pick up in the middle of his lies next week. And it looks like next week everything is coming to a head. They about to clash and fall out. And I don't know if the law is coming. It's a time around here. But that's it. That's all. And I ain't got no more. Thank you so much for coming down here, listening to me and letting me get this off my chest. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. And in the meantime, until next time, just like every time, I love you and I mean it. Bye.